Box sizing of border box. Yeah, tuko sawa. Box sizing value ni border box. Sijui mbona una delete box sizing. Umeweka huko dashes mbili, it should be a single dash. Nataka kudelete hiyo box iko nyuma ya box sizing. Yeah, that should be border box. It should only be box sizing border box. Delete ile box iko huko nyuma pekee. Usianze kudelete kila kitu tena. Just that box. Yeah. Hivyo. And to be clear, when I'm talking about these CSS properties, ukisikia nasema for example nikisema margin 0, just write margin nyuma, 0 itakuwa value. Box sizing, hiyo ni key, it's called a key. Border box is the value. So that's the box sizing is the property, border box is the value. Ukisikia nikisema color, just write color, and then kama mbele ni black, then color black. Kama ni text align, text dash align center vile umeandika, but it's not anyway. So I'm not going to say this is the key, this is the value. I just say the property margin, nasema 20 pixels, that is it. Just place them where they should be. Then going down we have the dot body. So outline width, that's not a good use case of outline. So outline usually of course it's associated with borders and elements, but now you can't set an outline onto the body, so just delete outline width thick. Delete hiyo value yote ya line 10. Okay, just deleted everything. Now that you have deleted everything, that's it. Okay, delete one closing curly bracket, delete line 7. Sawa, twende h1. H1 kuna text align center, color red, hiyo iko sawa. Twende kwa div. Under the div you have said text align center, padding auto, margin auto, background green, display block, border top red. So I can say here div ni kama, it's like you just added in a bunch of CSS attributes or CSS properties, which is not the case. So for example, text align could be working, yes, but padding, margin, no. Those padding and margin won't work with the values you have given them. For example, padding auto itakataa kufanya kazi. It should be padding a number, not just auto. A margin auto can work if and only if the div has a fixed width. Hiyo div yako iko na umeongeza another attribute, so you could just do like width. Okay, yeah. Then display block, by default a div has a display block, so that's an command or an attribute which is just there running or floating. It has no work. That's line 17 display block. Border top red, yes, border top could have worked if you had border style and border width. So between line 17 and line 18, those are just like randomly placed attributes. These are zitaleta shangwe, they won't work, or you won't see their effect. Then going down to H2, we have background color yellow, yes, that one will work. Text align center, yes, that can work. And color red, yes, that one will work. Going down to body, we have the border image, stretch. When setting a border image, those are not the attributes, so stretch alone won't work. You'll need to add more of those. attributes for it to work. So border image, nope, that one won't work. It needs more attributes. Let's talk about the border image later on, but for now, just get rid of border image. Then the next one we have is the background, 20 pixels. So if you were to set the background of the body, you would have needed something like a background size, not just background size of 20 pixels. So background 20 pixels alone won't work. Inataka like background, ukiset background inafaa kama ni color, a color can work, but just background 20 pixels, no. So you could just change instead of, yeah, background size, yeah, 20 pixels. So that one can work because you have given it a background size. So when you are setting a background, for example, your color line 16 where we have set the background of a div to green, tunaweza chukua your background instead of just setting it to be green, we set it with multiple attributes, multiple values. For example, the background could be a linear gradient, an image, then a color, then the size, then the background position, all those. But they have a way of doing it. Just leave it green. Let's just use the normal zenye tumezoea. Just leave it at green because ziko properties kadhaa you could set. So background unaweza set vitu mingi at once, or you just set a color, or you set an image. For example, background is equals to URL, then the URL to that image you want to use as a background. Same goes with border, line 25. So for the border, solid alone won't work, but if you were to do 1 pixels solid red, so those are 3 attributes into one. So instead of just solid, you do 1 pixel ama 2 pixel. So 2 pixel is the border width, solid is the border style. So border styles are several also, karibu, there are about 6 I think. Then we have solid red, then the color of that border. So it's good, that's just the border style, solid, yeah. So to make that one border style, yeah, that one. Then add 2 more attributes, 2 more properties. That's the border width, useme 2 pixels, na border color useme border width sema 2 pixels, then the border color sema purple ama n color. Border color purple ama any color you feel like, just red and so then, so those are the 3 attributes. Unaona hizo ni attributes 3. I want you to add another attribute, call it border, uandike 1 pixel solid purple just below the, yeah, border 1 pixel solid purple, just border, weka colon. Sometimes you have to write them on your own, yeah. 1 pixel solid purple, 1 pixel space solid space purple. So that's the shorthand. So such like attributes are called shorthands. So you could, that's a shorthand of writing border style, border width, border color. So hiyo 1 pixels itakuwa into effective than the border width of 2 pixels since iko low, is it low or high in order? Yeah, like it appears down. Juu CSS inaanza kusoma kutoka juu kwenda chini, so iko ya chini, so that's the last one that will be read by the parser, alafu it will pass 1 pixel instead of 2 pixels. So instead of writing those 3, border style, border width, border color, you could just use one line, border 1 pixel ama 2 pixel solid purple, and that is it for writing a border. Same goes with attributes like margin, padding, margin and padding. Margin ukisema 20 pixels inamaanisha it will add a margin on top to the right, on the bottom and to the left. Padding the same. So hapo mahali umesema for example line 44 umesema padding right auto for an input, that one will fail to work. Do padding right of a specific number of units. You could say like 20 pixels instead of auto. Auto alone, auto works when that parent, and usually enough it works with the margin. So you could do padding right 20 pixels. Yeah, that one is good. But if you never wanted to just do the right only, ungesema tu padding 20 pixels. If you do padding 20 pixels, it will add padding to the top 20 pixels, to the right 20 pixels, on the bottom 20 pixels, and on the left 20 pixels. So it's like inakaa inaenda tu ikiuka yote. That's a shorthand of writing padding. So you could also do padding. For example, anza kuandika padding, useme 20 pixels space 20 pixels space 20 pixels space 20 pixels. So write 20 pixels 4 times so that I can explain it further. Yeah. So the way the CSS works, when you pass in like that, unaona 20 pixels ya kwanza itakuwa padding top. You could have written padding top 20 pixels, but using the shorthand uliamua hiyo ya kwanza ikae 20 pixels, that's the top ikae 20 pixels. The second 20 pixels, hiyo ya pili, it means it's padding to the right 20 pixels. So you could have just done it like you did in on line 44, padding right 20 pixels, but using shorthand is sometimes better. Then we have the third one, 20 pixels. That means padding to the bottom 20 pixels. You could do padding bottom 20 pixels, but with the shorthand, that's how you do it. Then we have padding, hiyo ya mwisho, the 20 pixels, the last one, means padding to the left. The way CSS works, ama the box works, it's called the CSS box. Inaanza kutoka top, right, bottom, left. So andika another line hapo, andika margin equals to margin, yeah, that one. Andika T, capital T, space, capital L, no, capital R, capital R, capital B, and capital L. So that's how it works. That means top, right, bottom, left. Si ati ni kitu ingine, those are not really values, so you shouldn't like be using them. TRBL, hiyo inamaanisha tunaanza kutoka juu to the right, bottom to the left. Write another value there, call it margin. Margin, do 20 pixels space 20 pixels. So just two of those attributes, 20px, 20px. Right. So what you did there on line 47 inamaanisha, so that's another shorthand. On line 47, that's another shorthand. So you could do margin, uweke a single value, just 20 pixels. Hiyo itageuka kila mahali. For example, whatever you did on line 39 is padding 50 pixels. Hiyo itaenda kila mahali. But if you do only two values, for example, what you did on line 47, 20 pixels and 20 pixels, inamaanisha the first value 20 pixels, it apply like on the y-axis, that's on the top and on the bottom. And the second 20 pixels, it apply left and right. That's on x-axis, left and right. So That's a shorthand of margin and padding, so that's how they work. Like you inaweza fanya zote for each side on a single line, or you do only two to do both top and bottom, or you do yeah, two top and bottom, left and right, or one just a single value yenye itafanya all through round. Let's go back to line 47. Yeah, so going down there, so then background dark blue, the height, hizo values zenye tumeweka hapo kuanzia line 45 down, hizi hazileti shangwe, though just leave them, they were just for practice purposes. So for example line 46 won't work totally because those are not really values, just an illustration on how to apply that padding or margin to an element. Then we have label, auto. Height auto going to work because, yeah, that one can't work because sometimes it needs a few things for it to work. Height auto inamaanisha just take in the content height, so it's like the default value, so you won't see its effects. Then we have text decoration color. So for the text decoration color, for it to work, then you need to do like few more attributes. So for example, text decoration style, it could be an underline. So add an attribute, call it text decoration style. Ndio ile, just start typing text dash decoration style. Type to usingoje ikulete options. Ndio hapo, ukiangalia kuziko kadhaa, just take the style. Text decoration style. So unaona hapo wamekupea solid, double, dotted, dashed. It's the way that line should look like. Should it be a solid line? Should it be a dotted line? Should it be a ridge line, a revert? Is it a wavy line? So take dashed, for example. Yeah, so those two work together. Instead of doing hivyo venye umefanya text decoration color kando, text decoration style in different lines, so sometimes it's good to just have text decoration 1 pixel ama 2 pixel, solid the color, then solid sky blue. So text decoration style like border 1 pixel solid white, text decoration works the same. Instead of just having color kando, style kando, just use the, hata nimesahau hiyo jina just use that single property text decoration to put in all your data. That will save you a line, and that will save you time when writing CSS. We have line 57, font size 14 pixels, height. Yeah, so before we deleted the height auto, you also had height 20 pixels. So sometimes don't have different attributes or same attributes in the same class or in the same selector. The last one will be effective. For example, line 16 ndio itakuwa effective. Line yenye ilikuwa line 54 couldn't, line 58 couldn't, the last one could be effective. So just have one attribute. If it's height in that class, ikae peke yake. If it's color, peke yake. If it's background, peke yake. If you repeat background kwenda chini, ita fail kufanya. Otherwise, sometimes we can do two attributes, for example, background and background. Hiyo ndo najua inatumikanga mara mbili, only because you could reuse background ama you could redo background property twice, because the first one is, for example, your background color yellow, but the second one ni ile yenye unatumia the recent syntax of writing background. So with recent style ama recent syntax inamaanisha these things keep or get updated almost daily. So hiyo background yenye uliweka ya kwanza yellow inakuwa fallback. So if the background you did on line 61 is not working for other browsers, then the yellow one, ile sasa ile ya kitambo background peke yake, that one will work. So sometimes the recent syntax does not like work on all browsers. That's why tukianza hii nini nilisema let's specifically use Chrome, because that way tutakuwa in the same like tutakuwa tunatumia the same, tutaona the same result. If you are on Firefox and we are on and somebody is on Chrome, they might be seeing different results, hadi mjiulize mbona huyu anaona hii na mbona huyu anaona hii. Browsers are not the same, so somehow hii iko updated to the recent, hii iko somehow nyuma kidogo, ama the way this one displays its input is not the same way this one displays its input. So for if you are using for example nini sana, yeah, you do use Firefox and use Chrome sometimes, you could see the differences even if wakati una search kitu Google Chrome, ama not Google Chrome, using the Google search engine. Google search engine kuna design ina display on Firefox a different design, like unaona ni vitu different ukienda than zile zenye ziko kwa Chrome, only because browsers are not the same. So in development you usually develop on a single browser, but when unataka kwenda kudeploy ama when you are testing your application, you have to test a number of browsers because users use different browsers. Wengi sana for example in the US and in the Europe use Firefox only because Firefox somehow does not collect their information or does not force them to do some things they don't want. Firefox by default in a hide nini adverts, is it hiding? No, it blocks like nini hizi vitu za kutrack watu. So Firefox does that. So unapata wase wengi wenye wako Europe they prefer to use Firefox than Chrome. Na wewe wakati ulikuwa una develop you only developed on Chrome. Na Firefox inaonyesha vitu different, ama your site iko na sura mbaya on Firefox while on Chrome it has a good face. So on testing after umedevelop umemaliza, you have to test other browsers uone kama these other browsers show the same result as Chrome or your primary ama ile browser yenye ulitumia kudevelop. So always on testing so that kama your background dark blue works on Chrome, maybe the same background on Firefox dark blue inaonyesha vitu different, so you have to check. Then there are fallbacks of doing those. Kuna kitu inaitwa WebKit. So you start typing your CSS select your CSS property using dash WebKit, then dash background. That way your dash WebKit dash background ita make sure your background will work the same all through the given browsers or the most used browsers zenye zinatumika sahi. So going down to line 63. So you have done another body there. So that's not a good coding style. Don't do body juu. I think you did body somewhere huko juu, tena umeifanya hapa kwa line 63 the same selector. Don't do the same selector twice unless the second time yenye unaitumia you are doing chaining. Now body maybe header, that's when you do like see or repeat the selector when you want to chain or select a child of that element. So a select only is only used once in a CSS file. So delete line between line 63 and line 67 because umerudia your body. It's not a good idea. Just delete the whole body thing, the whole selector. Okay. Delete, delete, delete. Okay, Control Z. Control Z. Control Z. So if you have deleted something, for example hiyo vibaya, just Control Z itakurudishia hiyo kodi yako, then utaanza kudelete vizuri. Just delete between line 63 and 67. Yeah. Hivyo. Then we go do a curly brace. Hakuna haja ya Control Z. Just do a curly brace. Enter curly brace. Curly bracket. Ama hiyo bracket inakaa imevunjika mgongo. Just do a curly brace there. It will solve your error. Ungeweka ya mwisho, the closing one only. just the closing one ndo tunataka, si ati ni zote mbili. Yeah, hiyo iko sawa. Then let's go to line 68. So 64 kuna form and label. So by default the form has a display block. That one who's on effect, though still you could do that. The label has a display of inline block, so it's good you change its display to block, then they width to 100%. Then line 68 div A, you did margin bottom of 10 pixels and margin bottom of 10 pixels. Line 70 align items flex start. Padding auto haitafanya kazi, so you could just delete it. And we have line 72 display block. So right, so if you have align items if you have done align items, your display should be flex instead of block. So that's one more way of saying that, like when you're doing display align items and justify content, always start by the term by the property display, then you go to the hizo zingine zenye ni specific. For example, align items yenye inakuja under display. So align items usually inakuanga effective wakati umetumia display block, yani display flex instead of display block or inline block as per se. Then we have line 74. So when you do hover, you don't do hover then the label, no, you do the label then hover. Hover is not a selector, it's called a pseudo. How are they called? Robin, pseudo selectors, I think, or pseudo elements. No, I think pseudo selectors. Hizo hover focus zinaitwaje? I think they're called pseudo selectors. Yeah, those are the pseudo selectors. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So hover is a pseudo selector. Delete hiyo colon iko mbele. Yeah, good. So that's just a label hover. Then you should do other things. Kuna hiyo label hover, kuna focus, ziko mingi. Just do hover there for now. Hover. Yeah. That's why sikutaka tutumie VS Code. VS Code ingekuonyesha zote. You need to know them by default so that they can be like in your fingertips. Ujue mbona natumia hover. Yeah, so we use hover kuonyesha mtu amehover ama amepitisha kasa juu ya this element. For example, we have a button. When you are doing a button, you might decide to add hover ama focus. A button, no, focus with a button, not really. But you could do it there. You could do a hover on a button kuonyesha mtu amehover. For example, button ilikuwa ndogo, akihover button inakaa kubwa. So kumuonyesha uko hapa juu ya hii button, now click there. Yeah. That's the work of selectors and making things like more lively. So making a website live starts with CSS too, so not just JavaScript. Yeah, you could do button hover to have those properties on the button. So it will only append those properties onto the button wakati mtu amepitisha kasa juu ya hiyo button. So right, color, background width, height 50 pixels and a width of 50 pixels. So that's a square button, or that's how we do a square with the CSS. We have the sign up form as the next thing. Oh, let me finish on the square thing. Wakati umepeana fixed width and a fixed height, unaona hizo ni same dimensions like what we did in using the normal squares. 50 pixels, 50, that's not that's a pure square. So sometimes when you do squares ama you do with the fixed width on buttons zinaonekana vibaya, so it's better to have a width larger than the height ikae rectangle. So let's go to line 87, sign up form. A width of 500 pixels, a padding of 50 pixels, a margin of auto, border radius of 20 pixels. Correct. That one will work through. Yeah, except you might not notice the border radius. if you don't have a background on that form. So maybe add background white smoke. Yeah, background white smoke. Just type white smoke, enter. Then body, now that we need to delete that body because that's the third body tumeona, so delete it to yote between line 94 and line 99. Select kila kitu, select, just select everything, select hizo vitu zote zenye tunaona hapo, select that body and the curly braces zake, select. Yeah, after selecting, hit your backspace button. Good, that is the easiest way of deleting a lot of lines at once. Select each line you want to delete and then delete it. Save the file. Let's go to the browser and see what we have now. Of course, we have not made much changes, but you might notice a difference with your website. So if you refresh, yeah, so that's what we have. Ukiona hapo hivyo, so since you had set some sort of border radius on the body and some border on the body, that's unaona ile color iko bend huko juu, but you have sign up form with the background of white smoke, ndio hii hapo katikati. Scroll down to the button, hizo button za kusubmit na kureset. So they were the width and the height were not effective. Hover over submit. Hover over the two buttons, like pitisha cursor juu ya, umeona sasa venye hiyo nini hover style zimekuja. Ukihover inaweka width 50 pixels, height 50 pixels, background color yellow, color red and a border no, oh, zile properties zenye ulikuwa umeset on hover. So those are specific properties on hover. That's an action. So mtu akihover, that's what they do. So for input you could use something like focus. So mtu akifocus kwa input ina change border color hiyo input, ina change outline, inafanya tu vitu fangi, ina increase ina scale up, ina scale down. So overall I can say you have tried very much and that's a plus to your skills. So I really don't think if I can add anything, just asking you to go back to your HTML, that's W3 schools, and focus on those elements, learn how to do them, and for your index file ama for your HTML file, always make sure kila kitu iko well indented, like this one goes this one, this is the child of this, this is the parent of this. That way ndo tunaweza jua okay, you did this ama this element belongs to this parent, this child belongs to this element. And talking about parents and elements, unaona ile if an element is inside another one, it's called a child. If this child ama an element has an enclosing ama wrapping element outside it, it's called a parent. So parent child relationships with HTML tags, just make sure kila kitu iko well indented. And for colors, usi misuse colors when writing CSS, but that's the start. Hata mimi nilianzianga hapo, but I could just say for now, that's why sikuweka a lot comment about the coloring. Don't use a lot of colors when doing your HTML files ama when doing your websites. That's why unaona kama Twitter inakuanga na color specific kama primary color. Yes, Robin, you could complete your comment. It will be good if you complete. Yeah. So you have to pick some colors zenye unataka specific utumie. For example, you might decide your primary color is blue or it's red or it's green. That's your primary color. So don't misuse your primary color too. For example, Twitter's primary color yenye tunaonanga, it's blue. Though they have other sub colors. For example, hiyo pink yenye iko kwa hiyo z yako is it that pink or something? I don't know. So yeah, you could visit. So Twitter's primary color is blue, but you might not notice it kabisa till you are like using the site itself. And then when I notice two places specific kidogo kidogo, unaona kama icon yao ni blue, hutaiona mahali kwingi, but primary color zenye wanatumia ni hiyo blue. They have their color, text color is like black, and a background color of maybe white smoke. Just the three colors, and you have a very nice working site. So you don't have to use like several colors, just a few colors. So that's about the colors. I believe you have taken in about the parent-child relationships on HTML. Make sure kila kitu iko indented vizuri. Yeah, you could even see from there, their primary color is a fixed color which is blue. Hiyo ndo wana market na hiyo ndo wanatumia, but hawajaitumia sana watu ikienda kwa site. Kwa site utaona tu black, white as the background ama white smoke as the background. So blue yao inakujanga wakati mtu ana hover over something, they want to change that color, that's where the primary color kicks in. They have a call to action, for example ile the tweet button unaweza ipata ikiwa blue. Yeah, so that's it. Don't just juggle up colors. Then yeah, I've talked about indenting. Then go back to W3 schools. Jaribu tu kupitia hizo elements, but naona ulizitumia vizuri, so that's a plus too for what you did on your HTML side, except now kitu yenye ulikosea, and I might repeat this 100 times. Make sure your indentation is good. Like I think umeona kazi ya Jeremy. So Jeremy does the indentation vizuri sana. Like unaweza jua this the parent, this the child, down hivyo kwenda hivyo kwenda hivyo. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, that's I think today I did the recording. So yes, I think John, if you have any other question, maybe raise your voice. Sijasikia ukiongea leo, sijui is your mic working? Maybe tell us something. Yes. Yeah. So okay, there's no problem. So Robin has shared a good. Okay, haina shida, inafika kwetu. So Robin has shared something good here. So use the color wheel to identify the colors of your site. If I may present my screen a bit, I'll just go to that site and see how to pick colors. That's the thing. Nothing much. So once you are in the site and after identifying what your client wants or what you need to do for your site, you'll just come here and maybe it will ask you pick a color. So I'll pick a color, maybe it has not finished loading, so it will delay a bit. Okay, so I'll pick that color as my primary color. So I pick this one. Let me find something like this, yeah, like that one. So once you have picked this as your color, this your color you are going to use, that's your primary color. But here it also gives you something like another complementary color or else the combination you're going to use. You could decide to say I want to do like monochromatic, like choose the combination, color combination, something complementing your color. This could be it, this second color. Then you could be able to choose the, is it similar colors if you want something in color in a flow na if you have this color si mbali sana na hii, then you go with monochromatic. So I think the two hizo ziko sawa, monochromatic and nini and hiyo ingine ya complementary, but you could do the third one analogous yenye inakupea color tatu zenye unaweza tumia in different cases. At least that way you'll be able to say, okay, this is my primary color, my main color, and this is the secondary color, and this is my tertiary color. Like my color one, my color two, my color three. So use only those three in your site, but don't use them excessively again. For example, kama hawa they have only choose our primary color na wakaitumia on the banner, but if you go down, that's not the case. Kwenda chini ni different things ziko huko. But this is not the only site I think that can show you how to use. There are some other sites kama hii Canva, but they just ukichoose a color, it just updates the entire page and you can be able to see mahali wameitumia and how they have used it. So yeah, that's the thing. I don't know, John, your mic is down. We couldn't hear you if you were okay. I can see it's back. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, but it has been good from my side. Leo sijatumia nguvu mingi kukuambia fanya hii fanya ile, and you took the right thing today kwanza. At least after listening, I saw you implementing, so it was good. I can say so. I don't know. Do you have another question? Maybe you could be asking. Good. So you are saying we were to introduce JavaScript today? Yes, that was the thing. But I couldn't also just introduce JavaScript till I know that you are good with HTML and CSS first, because there's no need for us jumping into JavaScript yet we have not understood the HTML. Yes, yeah. So after tumeelewa how the ni goes, how the HTML and CSS goes, JavaScript will just kick in on its own. Like we don't have to push it in. Itaingia tu yenyewe. We just need to understand HTML, CSS, kila kitu ita flow. So do you have another question or another comment, John? Okay, good. Jeremy. Okay, thank you very much. Um, Jeremy, any other question, any question or any blocker while you were doing your practice on Java? Oh, yeah, Yes, now that's now that hapo ndo umeanza kuelewa how things go. If you can understand what somebody just says, then you can understand what your needs are. Like what do you want for your site? So that's the deal. After understanding, you can be able to implement without any problem. But just cramming things can't help us and running away from time. We have to go with the time. So Jeremy, you have said ju- just a moment, John. Yeah, John. Yeah, John, just a moment. Yeah, Jeremy. So I don't know your block. You are saying when you are following the sign up form, the sign up flow, somehow things were not adding up. But I believe if you do enough practice with that specific coding in Wapia, because that was just a minimal code. There were other things you could include because, yeah, if I were to include all the things at once, then things could have been time. Yes, yes, yeah. So, yes, John, you had something before I allow Robin to say something. Yes, Okay. Okay. There's yes. Oh yeah. So this is the thing, John. I don't know mahali Jeremy amefika, though I will just leave it as an assignment to you so that maybe you will just practice. You saw the code I sent. This is what you shall do. Just redo the same page, redo that sign up page. Maybe by kesho if you could have finished ama mahali utakuwa umefika, because I know you are not as free as wind. Kila mtu ako na kazi anafanya, so mahali utakuwa umefika when you were creating that sign up form. I don't want you to copy my code. I just want you to understand my code. Tuanze tu na header, atakuwa umefanya header peke yake. That's what we will see tomorrow and that's what we will edit and maybe rectify for you to learn more. Just redo that sign up form, that sign up page on a new folder so that you kama kuelewa kufanya na folders, that will help you learn how to use folders. Do an index.html file and do an index.css file or a style.css file. Link the two files together. Start doing the code kutoka juu kwenda chini while referencing my code, then kesho tutaona mahali utakuwa umefika. Yeah, I think that will be good. Robin, you have something to say? I think masaa yetu pia of course iko karibu kuisha, but I prefer tumalizie sai. Yes, thank you, Robin. Jeremy, you had something to say? Yes. Okay, right. Yes. Yeah. So that's a good. Welcome to the club. So this then. So since we have a new way to take into, we have to take time into consideration in this case. Then what I can say, just the base is critical. As much time is very important. So if we just say we introduce, yes, I was to introduce JavaScript today, but I couldn't have done that because saying the truth about your work, John, somehow, if I introduce JavaScript immediately, then you lose a lot of things. You might be into JavaScript and avoid HTML, CSS, then at the end you might lose all those. That's why I want nikiona umeanza kutumia colors vizuri, your indentation is good, then I can introduce you to JavaScript. Things will be good. Kindly, that's why narudia, if you have time, keep the good use of W3 schools because since we are in different geographical locations, kuelezea mtu kitu online si rahisi. Robin knows about that one. We tried to do a project that way, ilikuwa shida. So it's better if you try it on your own. Ikifika ni masaa ya class, because this is the only time we have like to review your project or your code, so that in case ulikuwa umefanya kitu ukakwama mahali, we can rectify it here and you know about it. And that's, let me add something here. If you have a blocker where you are coding, don't waste your time on much on solving that blocker fully. Like try to solve it. Ikikata after 5 minutes, just have your 5 minutes. Because usually hata mi kitu na solving for 5 minutes. Ikikata the first 5 minutes inamkanga natoka naenda kutembea nikuje vizuri. Nikuje na akili ingine. Of course it's the same mind. But if you try 5 minutes, 10 minutes and it's not working, just keep that as a question for the class. Then today I'll just try explain everything, why it was not working, why will it work, and how to make it always work. So if it's a blocker, that's CSS. For free, CSS is really problematic. And I said we use Control R to refresh our pages. Yes, that's what I said. That's a shortcut. But if it's not working, try to reload the page manually. Chukua mouse, enda hapa juu kwa reload button, click hapo reload your page, or right click and reload the page using the mouse, because control R sometimes inaweza kuwa na mashida zake kidogo, inaweza refresh page fully. So you can refresh the page using the normal refresh way if you could have done. Yeah, that's it. So take your time in going through W3 Schools HTML, CSS. Then by next week, I believe so, as Robin has said it, we shall start a project, and it will be a simple project, like just a simple project. I'm not going to mention it now because I have to go through some projects to pick one, which one is the first one to start with, or discuss with Robin, maybe with Cosmos, and understand the project. Then the rest of the class will join you fully now, because that time, yeah, hiyo class ingine au watu wengine amuoni hapa, it's because they know, okay, this is introduction to HTML, we have covered it somewhere. So that's why unaona hata mi pia I'm not following on them fully because I know they have done HTML and CSS, but ikifika ni kusasa kudesign website, they have not done that one too. So at least pia nikiweka to that page, then kwenda mbele we will be all of us like about 10 guys. Yeah, so the 4 missing pia watakuwa huku, 4 or 5 missing, they'll be here with us fully, starting when designing a website from scratch, moving it to production. Yeah, that's all. Okay, right. Also, good night from my side. So Ya, tukutane kesho. Rovin, ya, sawa. Okay, good night. Sawa. Yes, Rovin, you were saying something. Let me ngoja kwanza ni mute hii kitu bwana. Kidogo tu. Hiyo